Good evening, YouTube viewers and subscribers. So on my table I've got my OPS 20-4 engine, and I guess one of the concerns that I had while I was thinking about buying this engine was finding replacement belts for it and or a replacement glow plug. I think I've pretty much given up on the fact that I'm just not going to be able to find any more OPS 9150 plugs because I just think they're long extinct. But the belt is a different story. I don't know if any of you noticed it or if I even showed a picture close enough of it, but if I rotate, let me zoom in here so you can actually read this. If I rotate this belt over, you can see this part number 100XL037, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. And then as you rotate it even more, you see it says made in the USA. Even better, you go and you look and you see this big green G. Well, I'm somewhat familiar with belts from a previous work history many years ago, and I think I recognize that as a Gates belt symbol from a long time ago. What this 40 means, I'm not sure, because it certainly doesn't mean 40 teeth. So what I did was I started searching online for Gates belts using this part number, and of course I found some stuff and it came up with that part number, but that part number encompasses several different belts. I don't know, and I don't really know a whole lot about part numbers for belts, but I know there's numerous belts that have this part number, and I think they're all maybe separated by a number of teeth. So what I did was I put a mark on, one of these teeth, and I just rotated it around and I counted the number of teeth on it, because the manual does not specify any kind of belt replacement. They say they've got a part number, but of course that's extinct. So I counted the number of teeth on this belt, measured the width of it, and it's 3/8 of an inch, 50 tooth, and I was able to find replacement belts. I mean, I could find them from many places, but I happened to buy them from this place called BeadlersBelts.com. And these belts were $3.72 a piece. It's a Gates 100XL037 belt, and they've got a SKU number for it, but I don't know that that SKU number means anything other than maybe to this company. I'm not sure. So $3.72, I was like, well, hell, I'll pay $3.72 for a replacement belt. So I tried to do that, and they're like, oh, sorry, you got to have a minimum $10 order. So I was like, oh, well, crap, I guess I'll order 3 of these things. So for a total of $15.94, I got 3 replacement belts. Now, of course, the other thing is, you read in that manual, I posted a video on the manual, and of course, one of the first pages of the manual says, from OPS, we tested these engines for hundreds of hours, or at least 100 hours, and they never saw a failure of any kind, never saw a failure of a belt, never saw a failure of anything. So, that kind of made me think, well, then maybe I really don't need replacement belts, although I do have them now, and they're easy to come by. So, belts for this are easy to come by, I think. Now see, the real test is, it looks to me, and I'm going to try and line this up, to me to be the perfect belt. That way, and if let me see how closely I can zoom in here before my camera flakes out. If I kind of try and superimpose, I don't think this is going to show up too well on camera, but the teeth look to be the right spacing also, and of course you can see here the width is good. So that's all well and good, and you say, okay, great, you think you have belts. The only other way to really verify would be to actually install one of these belts and run the engine. However, seeing as this is, and I'm normally one of those people is I'm all ready to dive into tearing an engine apart, but this one is a little bit different for me. I'm not really all that excited or really willing to just want to go tearing this engine apart for numerous reasons. One, it's quite rare, and if I screw something up, then I'm just totally hosed. But the other thing is, to me, it looks like changing this belt is a little bit more involved than I would have thought, because to me it looks like Now I have removed this nut, and that is for the whole pulley assembly. Well, I was like, well, and I really don't want to do that because that's not going to help me get this on, really. So I put that nut back on and torqued it down. So I was looking at this and I was like, you know what, I think the only other way really to replace the belt and do a valid test, and I'm still not sure if I'm going to do this, is to take these two screws off, which loosen or remove the carb from this mount, take the hose clamp off, these two clamps off here, take the whole intake manifold and carb off, and basically pull the head. And the head is only held on with 4 screws. And you're like, well, that may be pretty simple to do, and yeah, it's probably pretty simple to do. And then what I would do is just pull. I can pull this belt off right now, I think, but I couldn't get it. I could probably get it out if I wiggle it out of there. But you know, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it because it really doesn't look like there's a way to add tension to the belt. It looks like it's just a stack-up tolerance of the head and everything that applies the right amount of tension to the belt. I don't see any means to adjust the tension of the belt, which means that getting it on, even with the head off, I would have to put it on here first and then kind of hold the head at an angle, slide the belt on, and then drop the head on and try and put the head on like that while this is pulling down on the head. I don't know. I could do it. I'm not sure if I want to do it. The other thing I do want to try, though, is that my last run with this engine was using a 17.6 wood prop, and I really like the way the engine ran with that prop. I think that's a good size for this engine, and I think I got some decent RPM numbers. I think the next time I run this, and right now I've got it all lubed up and oiled pretty well inside because I wasn't sure when I was going to run it again, but I think what I want to try and do is run it with an OSF plug, just for the hell of it, just to see how she runs with an OSF plug. And if I see comparable RPM numbers and comparable handling, starting, idle, transition, if it runs basically exactly the same with an OSF plug, well then maybe I'm in pretty good shape here. Let me pull this thing off here real quick. Let's yank this plug, and I gotta get my tool here, and I'll see if this is actually a long plug or if it's just a standard short, or what the length of this plug is. I've had it out once before, but you know, honestly, I really didn't look too closely at it. Okay, so it's out. Let me find another 4-stroke plug here real quick if I can. What's this? Here's a 4-stroke plug. Well, it's actually, I guess it's a 4-stroke plug. So let's zoom in here. Nope, wrong way. So, is that about lined up? I'm trying to line this up just looking at the viewfinder. Doesn't look like it's as long as a 4-stroke plug, and of course this looks like a Fox Miracle plug. And here is an OSF plug. Yeah, that's an F plug there. So let's see here. So it actually doesn't really look like that OPS plug is really a 4-stroke plug. So maybe all I would really need to do is find another hot plug of some manufacturer. So I guess my test with an OSF plug probably wouldn't be the best one, although I could try several plugs, and since I kind of like running it without the head cover on there, it'd be a lot quicker and easier to change out anyway. So maybe the next time I run this engine, and don't get excited because I have no idea when it's going to be. It could be a week, it could be 2 months, I don't know. I think what I want to do the next time I run this engine is between now and then I'll decide if I want to replace the belt, and then I'll try and find some other plugs that I can experiment with and see, because obviously for me, and if by some strange miracle I ever decided to sell this engine, knowing that there are replacement parts for at least these these things, the belt and plug, especially the plug, that's important. If somebody's going to actually run this engine in a plane, they're going to at least be able, they're going to have have replacement plugs. So I think that's important to find out. The belt thing, you know, doesn't seem that big of a deal, but if they ever get this engine from me, you're going to get 3 freaking belts, so you'd have belts for life anyway. But anyway, so that was kind of the point of this short video. I wanted to show that I did actually source and get some belts, but according to OPS, you know, they never saw a failure with a belt. And quite honestly, I think I kind of believe them. So this may have been kind of, you know, a good exercise, but maybe just a waste of $15. I don't know. I think the more interesting thing would be to see if I can actually find replacement plugs that would operate well in this engine. So anyway, that's the latest update on this OPS engine. Thank you very much for watching.